and how to handle it going forward is a question. Back in 2024, there were a lot of dissatisfaction about the finance bill, how it had been treated up until it was passed by Parliament. So many things came up. There was a Adani deal for the airport, and it all blew up on this date. But this time round, it would appear we are confused about how to handle June 25th. Is it an official anniversary? Is it just a day where we come up with all our complaints together and protest? People don't know what to do about tomorrow. There are some who are saying it should be a public holiday. Wakili.
Thank you very much. There's no confusion about it. This is a government that does not even have the temerity to admit its wrongs, and that it owes a duty to the Kenyan people to serve them, not to lord over them. What we are seeing is a government that is afraid of its own people, they who it's supposed to be serving. What does Article 37 of the Constitution say? Every person has a right, peaceably and unarmed, to assemble, picket, demonstrate. Now, you find a government that is so afraid of the right of its own people to assemble. Now, the only preconditions the Constitution places on that, the exercise of that right, is that you have to be peaceable and you have to be unarmed. So if those two conditions are met, then under the Public Order Act, Section 5 to be specific, you then notify the police that we will be making a procession to an assembly point at or towards or to Kitengela. So the government then says, well, I'm afraid that you might actually demonstrate and portray and bring forth the image that I am unpopular, that I am actually trampling on your rights, that I am engaging in this largesse and the oppression of the poor and the fatherless and the widow, and I'm stealing from them. That's what the government is afraid of. Now, people will find again a platform. What did the 2024 demonstration against the Finance Act demonstrate? A, that the Gen Z, anybody actually, once you come together, you do not need political mobilization. And that was an eye-opener, because hitherto, and my learned friend says that, you know, it opened the doorway to an unconstitutional celebratory platform which they see the broad base. I don't see how and where you locate that in a constitution or in our political order. But they celebrated that, oh, you know, we found out that the government was somehow narrow, constricted, and unable to then function within the political confines that it had found itself. Who boxed the government into that corner or into that scenario where they suddenly were opened by these Gen Z demonstrations that, oh, you know, we need to broad base our government. I mean, I don't know what to say, but like, they were blind to their own wrongs, and this happened to then open their eyes. So how do we go forward in commemorating this? A, the government is wholly and totally wrong to compensate the faceless, the unknown victims of these demonstrations. We are not seeing the list, and they are saying, they who are the actual victims, that we're afraid that there are some ghost persons who will resurface and show up and receive compensation, because there's a penchant by this government to this opacity. The opaque way of dealing things and dealing with the Kenyan people is so recalcitrant. It keeps on coming back and forth. So what if I were, you know, a buff in this government, and God forbid, and, you know, spare me that misery, I would be telling the president and they who are his political advisor, hey, look, let's give these people their space. You know what? When you do not interfere with them, whatever tensions that you feel probably could erupt, you will have diffused them very gently by giving them the space. Lastly, what are we supposed to be upholding? The rule of law and constitutionalism. Article 3 of the Constitution says that everybody is bound to respect and uphold and defend the Constitution. So this government, and you heard the president, no less, The president himself saying that, hey, there's some people who are planning something, and to Tawanyorosha or whatever it is, whatever that is, it means that you're not respecting the constitutional edict in Article 37. So going forward, give these people the space. They want to go back to Kitengela. Don't be afraid of a Sifuna sort of reenactment of that. Don't be afraid that we will have another Gen Z. Let them be. Now, you will be aggravating the situation if you then stifle that demonstration, that assembly. People will be hardened in their positions against you. Now, I do not think that that is any political capital that you want to work with going forward. You will not have endeared yourself to the people, the generation that came out to tell you that, look, you cannot see it in some parliament, pass a law, and then you see it in some air-conditioned state house office, and you sign off a piece of paper into law to oppress me. So we have now to go back to the drawing board. Is this
We'll talk about more about compensation and all that. I'm more concerned about tomorrow's date. Mwalimu.
Let me finish this one point. If you do not allow the celebration of this day, or at least the people to demonstrate, let everybody go to work, who wants to work, but they who want to remember the blood that was shed of these people, allow.
It should be allowed. Yes. Mwalimu, going back to history, there are